Good morning, everyone. I'm Julia Boorstin here for TechCheck, and we have a live interview this morning with Steve Zhao. He's the founder and CEO of Sandbox VR. Steve, thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you, Julia.
So you got big news, a new funding round led by Andreessen Horowitz. Tell us the headline.
So we've raised $37 million. It's led by Andreessen Horowitz with Andreessen VR General Partners, and is coming out of us basically surviving from the pandemic.
You survived during the pandemic. You were just starting to get momentum ahead of the pandemic. And then, of course, the pandemic shut down your in-person VR experiences. And then now you're trying to relaunch and expand internationally. Before we get into what this fundraising round means for you, tell us a little bit about what the business model is of Sandbox VR.
So we provide full body VR experiences for friends to play together, and they're inside our retail locations. We have 13 locations, mostly in the US and a few across the world. And in our experiences, is basically you and your friends get transported into different worlds, and you get to embody different characters.
And so the idea is that you would go to, say, a mall. I've been to one of these at the Westfield Century City Mall here in Los Angeles. But you'd go to a mall, you'd buy a ticket, which is much more expensive than, say, a movie ticket, and then you get access to top of the line VR equipment, not just a headset, but also hand controls, et cetera. So explain to us sort of how long this experience takes and how much it costs, and sort of whether you see it as an alternative to movie going or something very different.
Yeah, we definitely see this as an alternative. People plan ahead. They build their evenings or their holidays sometimes around going to sandboxes, and it takes around like an hour and a half in our location. The actual experience is a little bit more than 30 minutes, and what they get is this high intensity, high action experience where they can experience socially with their friends, and afterward we provide them with a highlight videos, which basically is like a trailer of what they've just experienced.
And it shows them playing the game together. And this is all about a sort of a social virtual experience, but yet this is not the metaverse. So we have been talking a lot on CNBC about the metaverse. Facebook just renamed itself as Meta, and companies like Microsoft are talking about working into the metaverse. So my question is, how do you see this experience, which is about people going physically to a place and playing a game together, but really just with their friends? How does that sort of correspond with what's been going on in terms of all of these companies investing in the metaverse?
Yeah, so the way to think about the metaverse is kind of like a shared online persistent world, where you can have a large number of people kind of experience something, collectively. So today, our experiences are pretty much isolated to a group of friends. They're offline experiences, and in our space, it's a lot of it's a physical space. What we're building towards is kind of like the virtualization of physical space. So in the future, someone can step into a sandbox and they can embody their virtual avatars, along with their friends, and they can get transported to one of these online worlds on the metaverse, and they could be in the same space as hundreds, if not thousands, of people, and they can, there's a lot of great experiences and games that can be created out of that.
So to me, the key thing is that this might be a place where people actually get to interact with VR technology for the first time. This is a place where you can go get top of the line VR hardware without having to invest in it. Do you see your locations as being sort of a gateway into people maybe eventually buying their own VR headsets?
So that is definitely correct. I think for most people kind of see us as an entertainment destination. We actually don't utilize the word VR that much in our advertisement. It's like we transport you into a different world. VR to us is just a technology, right? It's what the outcome you can provide. And I think people have tried experiences, and it actually makes it easier for them, as you said, as a gateway to actually trying VR at home. I think they kind of complement one another, what people can get at home versus what they can get like in Sandbox.
And so I guess that raises the question, though, as you look to expand, you just raised this $37 million. This is happening at the same time as companies like Facebook or Meta, rather, are investing in selling more headsets. So you're competing with a much more robust set of offerings for people to use at home. So I have to wonder, is this a harder time to expand into in-person experiences when people now have more options for VR at home?
I see, at home as a different market because in the end of the day, you can have great devices, but your home is still like a very small space, and every home is configured differently. In Sandbox, not only do we provide the space, but it's also we don't just utilize just a headset. We also provide the haptics, the 4D effect, the high glove services. So it's a combination of many factors to create an overall different premium experience.
So tell us about your expansion. So how many cities are you in now, and how many cities are you going to expand to?
We currently have 14 locations, so it's about 12 cities. We have 2 in LA actually, and by the end of next year, we're projected to be in over 55 locations, so about like 50 cities.
And so as you look at this expansion and you think about the price point and what it is that you're offering, I believe it's $45 for a 30-minute experience. Yes, it takes an hour and a half with the getting there and getting the equipment on and then looking at the video afterwards. But what do you think the real addressable market is? I mean, it is relatively pricey. It's much more expensive than going to a movie.
That is correct. I would say the VR is just one part of it. There are things you do beforehand and things you do after in the Sandbox. And the ticket price is premium, is about $40 to $45. I think it's in the end of the day, it's people, they go to Sandbox, they scream, they curse, they yell. It's just the type of experience that we can provide. And for them, when we ask them, they feel like the price matches the outcome that they get.
And in terms of the market, though, who is the sort of core audience for this? Who are you targeting? Is it people who play video games at home, or is it not, because they might already have their own VR headsets?
We initially thought it was gamers, and it turned out to be incorrect. It's just general consumers. It's mostly millennials. The blend is about 50% male, female is very equal. So that is our general demographics.
And then as you look to the future and as you talk about working with Andreessen Horowitz, which obviously is invested in a number of metaverse plays, what do you think the big picture potential is for what Sandbox could look like down the line as the meta version vision that Mark Zuckerberg has described maybe comes a little bit more to fruition? What is your role going to be in 5 or 10 years if people have a lot more of these devices and opportunities at home?
So part of the metaverse is how does one access the metaverse? And you can use a VR headset, you can use mobile phone or a laptop. So what Sandbox wants to be is to be the portal to the metaverse. It's a combination of devices basically to provide full body VR experiences. And once we can provide the interface, it connects to different types of experiences on the metaverse. And it connects to other aspects of it, such as governance that touches upon crypto and other aspects of that too.
And how does crypto play into this? You go to a Sandbox VR location, go into the metaverse, and then buy things with crypto?
So, one of the interesting concepts is, NFT. It's basically having a digital asset that you own. Absolutely. So just kind of imagine that you can actually, your NFT is like a gold armor. Right. And then you can actually wear that gold armor and feel it as you enter Sandbox.
Well, the portal to the metaverse, I guess we will have to see whether the proliferation of these devices and the hardware being available at home impacts things. But a portal to a metaverse certainly sounds like a very cool thing. Steve Zhao, CEO and founder of Sandbox VR, thank you so much for talking to us today.
Thank you, Julia. Thank you.